Today, we have a wonderful speaker named Matt Ward. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Now, Matt is an author of Making Your Website Effective, as well as his newest book, More Words of Mouth Referrals, which is what we're going to talk about mainly today. Now, word of mouth referrals, that's something that should be big in the real estate industry.
Yeah.
I know when I did some research on your site and I look at what you're doing, you have these two books. You are also a professional speaker, correct?
Yeah. That's pretty much all I do. Yeah. And I go around talking about the biggest book that came out last year was the More Word of Mouth Referrals book. It's a little sort of guide, almost 45 different tactical things you can do to connect with people on a deeper, more meaningful level. See, the problem is we're hiding behind the digital tools, right? So what we really need to do is figure out how to cut through all that noise, all that social media noise, everything that's happening in our lives, all the impressions that marketing has. And we need to build relationships that matter, right? And most people think, oh, I want to get referrals from, my clients. Well, clients will generally give you 1 to 3 referrals over their lifetime. What you really want is partner referrals, people that are in a position to refer you somebody who's ready, willing, and able to buy. And so we talk about how to nurture those relationships through simple, basic human kindness and generosity. Something like a handwritten card. It doesn't always even have to be a thank you card. It can just be a handwritten card. I'm a big believer that we have to go from the inbox to the mailbox.
Do you think it's more like a millennial?
No, it has nothing to do with age.
Okay.
It has everything to do with technology because it advanced so fast and we're embracing it. We have smartphones in our pocket and we love to text. I think that even I see agents who are 50 plus years old that are not mailing cards, right? This is how that big industry of send out cards got populated and why so many agents are familiar with that. But the problem with send out cards is it's confused a lot with caring, right? See, send out cards isn't caring, it's marketing and advertising because it has your logo on it. You see, the minute that you send something to someone else and include any information about you or your business, you are immediately turning it back on yourself. And that's marketing and advertising.
I totally agree. And I think because also like something like send out card, it's a print card.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not using
we know
pen.
That's right. And we know. And you know what happens, by the way, let me just reach down here in my desk drawer and I'm going to show you what happens when people send cards to people. They keep them. They keep them, right? And so for months on end, for years on end, they put them in shoeboxes, right? They treasure them because no one else is doing it. And the problem is that we as consumers, as people, we just believe we don't have enough time to send cards to people. Handwritten cards. Yet we'll send an email and we'll backspace and edit that email 4 or 5 times before we actually send it. And so it took us 4 or 5 minutes to actually do it. I can write a card in less time than that. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's pretty basic. Sometimes we got to go back old school.
We do. And I think I was talking to an agent yesterday and she was panicking. She was saying, I'm so scared. The industry is changing now, all with this artificial intelligence. Now we're going to have to work for all these tech company and we're not going to be more real estate agent. I'm like, no, that's not true. What real estate agent needs to focus on, it's caring and rebuilding the relationship. And if you spend 1 hour, an hour and a half a day on social media and technology and your CRM, maybe you should cut that down and spend more time in relationship and caring about the client that you know and you do business with, period.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I believe that people should use social media as social media espionage. That's what I call it. We should connect with anybody and everybody possibly that we can. And then we should lurk. We should watch what's going on. We should use our eyes to pay attention to what's going on. And when we do that, we see that ex-client or ex-mortgage partner has posted a picture of their child on the first day of school for the last 10 years, right? And so eventually, you know, they're going to do that every single year until that child graduates in their senior year, right? And then what do you do with that information? You're very close friends with them. You've been friends with them now for 10 years, probably. You take the photos, you aggregate them into a picture collage on Canva, you print it out, put it in a frame, and mail it to them. This isn't rocket science. It's caring.
It's not. Now, based on what you just said, how many people do you think we should focusing on? So let's say I have.
Yeah. So, I mean, like when people first get started, they want to eat the elephant all at once. And you just can't do that. You got to eat it one bite at a time, right? So I just recommend that people start with 6 right off the bat. That's enough to really start to nurture a relationship in the course of a given month. And as you get more comfortable, you can add more and more and more. I do have this idea, this jumpstart policy on how to jumpstart your referrals, this process I've created, which basically is, it's a lame name, but I call it the 20-20-20 plan. Basically, you take 20 contacts and you send them a card in a given month. And then you repeat that in month 2 to the same 20 contacts, and then month 3 to the same 20 contacts. So 20 contacts have gotten 3 cards over a 3-month period, right? Pretty basic analogy. It's basically 1 card a day that you're working on, right? I guarantee you get a referral at the end of 90 days. Now, I cannot guarantee if you sell it, and I can't guarantee how much the referral is worth, but I guarantee you get a referral.
Now, when you say 20-20-20, I'm thinking, okay, if I do 20 every month, after 3 months, I'm cutting the relationship. Should I do more like a 20 every quarter and try to keep the relationship?
You want the 20-20-20 every month, because what you really want, you just do it for the first 90 days. What you really want is consistency. That's what produces the referral, the consistent nature that you're caring about other people. Now, let me just put this out there, because there are people in the real estate industry that firmly believe that every email signature should say, the best compliment you can give me is a referral to your friends and family. Every time I see that, little baby kittens die.
So
it's begging. It's
for referral.
It's begging for referrals. And the only thing that happens when you ask for referrals is 2 responses. Number 1, oh yeah, I got a referral for you. And I give you a lead at best. It's somebody who might be thinking about a house, not somebody who's really seriously interested, right? We got to remember that a referral is somebody ready, willing, and able to buy. The second response you get is, oh yeah, I'll get back to you. And then you hear nothing, because they were uncomfortable in the position. And when you send it out in an email signature, it's glossed over anyway. No one cares about email signatures anymore, right? And so like all I see when people send emails with those types of things in them is people begging for business. Like I might have just been the very first recipient of an email from this person, and all of a sudden it's asking me for a referral. We have no relationship because it's in their email signature and they don't take it out, right? So it's not individualized. We can't ask for referrals. Now, some people may say, well, I ask for referrals and I get referrals. That's great. You might get 1 to 3 referrals from your clients.
So how do you ask for the referral?
You don't. You ask for introductions. You ask for introductions, and you get introduced to the people that can refer you on a regular basis. So the mortgage people, the trades people, the people who are, doing septic systems and water things, people building construction homes, people who are in a position to refer a realtor on a regular basis.
Okay, so now we're talking about more like a referral network.
Yeah, that's who you want to work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can don't even bother with the consumer.
I mean, you can, but I believe that person that you're focused on, who's the consumer, you really need to vibe with, you really need to get along with, and they're just really cool and you want to hang out with them and invite them to the barbecue anyway. See, I believe that people don't do business with who they know, like, and trust. I believe that people do business with who they know, like, trust, and care about. You see, referrals are a byproduct of caring. What happens is when you care about other people, you show up in their life in a positive way, and they don't want you to go anywhere. Why? Because you're the only one caring for them. Like, think about it. How often do you get handwritten thank you cards? Very rarely.
Like you said, when I get one, I keep it.
There you go.
I do.
There you go. And it happens all the time, right? And so people want those that care about them to stay around. So what does that mean? How does that transcend the business world? That means they give you referrals because they want you to be successful. So you stay around and keep caring about them.
So now let me go back. I'm missing something, maybe they don't, but I do. On the 2020, are you talking about the vendors and not the consumer?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't care what 20 people you pick.
Okay.
I want you to make sure that you like them, that you can hang out with them, that you want to invite them to a wedding that you're invited to or putting on, that they're the type of people you'd want at your backyard barbecue or swimming in your backyard pool. Those are the people I believe we need to do business with. I call it the high five effect. We should be able to high five everyone around us.
Wow, you opening my mind, because I do handwritten note and I'm focusing only on my real estate agent because that's all. But that's true. I don't think about doing the vendors, and like you opening my mind why I don't do that.
Yeah, because I mean, those people have the ability to refer. I mean, they might, in your case, your responsibility might be to bring in more agents, but other people know other agents, right? And the world goes around in very funny ways. The problem is that we so focus on the need and the desire to sell that we focus on the referral from the client. And when I had my website agency for over 16 years, the last 4 years I had it, not a single client came from other than referral. And they came from people that never bought a single thing from me.
Wow.
They were IT professionals who fixed computers and did managed services. And people would call them and say, hey, we need a website. And they go, no, we don't do that. Call this guy. And I would do the same for them because I didn't fix computers. The funny thing, though, is you might say, well, how does that even work? Like, how did they know how good you were? Because I stayed in touch every month or every quarter with them. I had basically what I called 35 partners. I would just consistently touch base with them. I'd have lunch. I'd have coffee. I'd bring them coffee. I'd bring them Frosties from Wendy's. I take care of them. I know what they like and what they don't like. I know their kids' names, their wives' names. It's relationship sales. And if you care about people, they'll show up for you.
Now, do you have a program or system to keep the relation going in the longer term, like a 24 months or?
My process is really around a CRM, right? A contact management system. If you don't have one, you're in trouble. Most agents have one or have access to one. And you need to be documenting what you're doing in those systems. And so I just set up reminders in those systems. And if I lack that system or process, I use Google Calendar to remind me. But that's all I do. I have to have little pop-up reminders that keep me going because otherwise I'll forget. Some people will use Post-it notes or handwritten notes or whatever it might be. Whatever works for you is the way you got to do it. But, you got to find what works for you. Sometimes the 20-20-20 is too much. So you do 5-5-5, right? Or 5-5, 5 each month. You got to do what works for you and what process works in your life and in your system. I'll give you an example. Cards are a little tough for me to do now that I travel a lot, right? So one of my processes now is when I land in a new city, any city I'm going to speak in the airport, I buy postcards. These are from Scottsdale. I was just there.
Oh.
I carry the stamps with me, and I always get a few extras. I carry the stamps with me. And I keep them in my backpack, and then I mail them from the airport.
That's a good idea.
Right? So you got to work with what works for you, and just modify these ideas. I speak a lot to people and they say, like in the real estate world, one example is they say, well, I can't give gifts, because there's certain laws around gift giving and all this stuff. Like I'm an expert in relationship building and referrals. I'm not an expert in the individual laws within the worlds of all these different industries. So to those people who say, I can't do that, I simply say, don't say that. Say, how can I do that?
How can I do that?
Right? How can I do that? It used to be years ago, agents would drive you around in their car shopping. Now, very few agents do that. You have to meet them. And there's a lot of reasons why. It's liability, it's insurance, it's all this other stuff. But at the time in which you know, somebody shows up and they want to buy a house, but they don't have a car. What do? You find another way, right? And so that's all I'm asking people to do with this stuff is don't say that you can't care about people. Just find another way to care about people.
And it's something because doing a handwritten note, it's so simple. You don't have to be a digital marketing expert or you don't have to know about CRM system. It's simple. Everyone can do it. Mm-hmm. And it takes a couple minutes a day.
Yeah, they think it takes more time. I mean, too much time because it takes more time than an email. But it really only takes about 2 minutes more than an email. But the impact is far greater.
It's like everything. You need to just have a routine. So yes. Like you said, 20, you do 20, start with 5 a month. Nothing.
So that's the thing is when I started with 1 a day. The first thing I did, I would just come into the business day and do 1 card. That's it. That's it. And I think we all might know somebody in the real estate world who does this. We know that's what they're known for. The reason they're known for that is because it stands out. It does. Who's getting the referrals, by the way?
It does.
Those folks are the ones getting the referrals.
and I really believe that you will get more referral when you do something coming from the heart, taking the time of doing it, than even like the guy who said, hey, I can't spend the money on a gift box. Well, you know what? You don't have to. Just care and spend time with the people. I think it's more important than buying something or leads that you can't because it's illegal. Whatever is the situation, just care.
Yeah.
Time or things that you do it yourself will have a better effect than anything else.
Yeah.
So, and never ask for referral. Okay, I'll take that. I'm always like, what about promotion to offering awards and promotion?
Yeah, let's not incentivize. Let's not bribe people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. Like in my partner program, I had to find a way to compensate these folks because they were giving me more referrals than I was giving them. And so in the web business, it's very common to pay a percentage. So we did that. But you don't want to lead with that. You don't want them, because what happens is if you went, so I did a study a long time ago at the web company and said, we're going to give away this big TV. Back when big TVs were just starting to come out, we were going to buy this huge TV and give it away. And it was based on the fact that you referred someone. And I found out rather quickly in a little survey tool, the number one response was, we will refer you when the opportunity presents itself.
Okay.
Do you know when the opportunity presents itself? When you're top of mind. It's way cheaper to send cards and small tchotchkes and little things that mean something to them than it is to try and say to somebody, well, I'll give you $500 for a referral, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And it's just better off. And the biggest challenge, I think, in real estate is that oftentimes when we thank people, we give them just a standard gift card. Like it's a gift card to the restaurant down the street, or it's a gas card or something like that. And it's not relevant to the individual. I sold a house one time and they gave me a gift card, $100 gift card, which I was very happy to get a $100 gift card, but I was not very happy at the restaurant I went to because it was a restaurant I would never eat at. And I have a side-by-side ATV here in Massachusetts. Love that thing. I drive it around all the trails in New Hampshire and Maine. The agent had to walk by that about 40 times, and every buyer wanted to know if that came with the house. Like they knew that was my thing, right? They could have spent $100 on an online ATV superstore, and I would have been giddy happy. If you have a client that has a Harley, buy them a $100 gift card to a Harley Davidson store, not to a restaurant.
Make it more personal. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's relative to them.
Client, you're spending time with them. You know who they are.
I mean, would you buy your client Omaha steaks if they were a vegetarian?
Probably not.
I mean, you have to know these things. Otherwise, you're going to offend them.
You know? Gift for a white elephant party, I guess. For Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think these days too, we are in an instant gratification. We want things now, and we want leads now. We want new clients now, and we don't want to wait for it. Do you think a lot of people don't go through that pain because we all know it's the best return on the investment, but it takes time?
Yeah, Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think they don't see the correlation between a card and um and the result of that relationship, you know. And I in one of my keynotes I talk about this real estate attorney who I built a relationship with over 10 years, and I invited him to golf, and turned out he didn't like golfing, and he just sat in the cart and drank beer the entire time. And it was a lot of fun we had that day. And we never talked business until we got to the 18th green, in which he turned to me and said, by the way, give me a call next week. I want to talk business. And he bought a new website for 10 grand. And then he referred a lawyer 2 weeks later for another 10 grand. So you might say to yourself, well, you know, geez, a relationship over 12 years got you $20,000 in business. That's all great. But when you look at the return on investment, you might say, well, that's not that great. But don't forget, he bought 4 websites before that. That was his 5th one with us. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people just can't pinpoint, right? And if you start to really trace back all your referrals and all your leads, almost all the time, you can come back to something you did for free or because you cared about somebody else. You know, I mean, look at my website business. I ran it for 16 years. I sold it to an employee. I had 8 employees, and the very first website I ever did was for free.
Yeah, I think it's because you care. And when you are with your relationship with your people, you're not selling a product. You caring about the people around you. You don't have to ever talk about the product, and the product will sell. It's about who you are, the personality will make the product sell itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think relationships are what people buy. I don't think people buy, you know, because how many agents are out there? We have tons of realtors that we can pick from. Some are going to be super high tech. Some are going to be super low tech. Some are going to be not tech at all, right? But at the end of the day, when I am getting ready to list my house, I'm going to pick the agent who I am most comfortable with in conversation and who I believe can do the best job for my home. And it is all about that relationship in that moment, right? It's not about whether or not you pull out a smartphone device and show me what your listing will look like when you put it up online. Like that's not no. And no. So when you are working the relationships with people, you need to understand that the relationship is the driver behind referrals. Relationships are the driver behind referrals. That's the key.
That's it. Now, remember, if you want to ask a question to Matt, feel free to ask. And, you know, when you said that, it made me think about myself and many agents. We're in real estate because we care about the people. That's why we started. We want to be entrepreneur. We want to help people. We want to care about the people. And I know when I start as a real estate agent, that's all I was doing is just loving and caring. And I think sometimes what happened is you get busier and you become that top producer and you forget why did you start this business? And you're like, oh no, I don't need to talk to these people, or I don't have the time, I'm busy. I have so many properties to sell. Hello, you need to calm down here, right?
You see, it's not that we don't care. It's just that we lost the focus on it.
We lost the focus on it, and we need to go back to it and said, you know what? I need to remember why I started. Mm-hmm. I need to take that feeling and practice with it all the time. Doesn't matter if now there is artificial intelligence and all these tech and all these leads. Priority should be the relationship.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
Now, so going back to an agent who decide to start working on referrals today I'm doing 5 cards every week. How long do you think it will take them to start becoming successful?
Well, what I definitely would like to see is I'd like to see them pick the contacts and then repeat the card process every month, right? I believe that if they only picked 5 contacts and they did 5 contacts a week, let's just say they did 5 contacts a month, right? Those 5 contacts need to get a handwritten card or note from them, probably every every month for 5 to 6 months, and then they'll see something from it. It's not necessarily about the card. It's the consistency. It's one of the things I talk about in my book, is that the number one rule is to stay in touch, right? Now, we can stay in touch in lots of different ways. We can share articles and information. We can drop by with free coffee, a cup of coffee, made the way that they like it. We can drop by with a bottle of wine if we know that they drink wine. There's a lot of different ways we can do and stay in touch. But that is the ultimate key. It's when we fall off that communication spectrum and then we start up again, that's when they think we're only interested in sales.
Yes.
And so if we stay in touch with these agents that want to get referrals, just build a consistent process. Every Monday it's this, every Monday it's this. You're going to see results within 6 months. Now, that sounds like a long time, but just think about this. The people in the cubicles sitting next to you, the people in the homes sitting next to you who are selling real estate aren't doing this. So you will be ahead of the game 6 months from now. The best time to send a card was 6 months ago. The next best time is today. I stole that from the planting the tree guy, where they say that the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The next best time is today. You got to start.
It's never too late.
And Larry Winget, a very popular sort of motivational speaker, he calls himself an irritational speaker. He said that in order to affect change, the pain of change, the pain of not changing must be greater than the pain of change itself. The pain of not changing must be greater than the pain of change itself. So if you want to make a change and start getting referrals in your business, and you think that the change is going to be painful, you have to be more frustrated with the current level of your referrals now in order to affect this change. Because otherwise, it's just another guy spewing referral information. Oh yeah, that might work for him, but that's not going to work for me. And so you look at yourself and you start taking inventory of how many referrals you've gotten over the last 6 months or a year. And you might think, well, that's great. And then you start to think, well, what if I could have had 3 or 4 times as many? How much business would I have done then? Imagine what your business would look like in that scenario.
And I think the best way to find that pain too will be awareness. Maybe go back to what happened the past 12 months and see where your business come from.
Always track it. Always track who's referring you business. I use a mind map, a free mind map tool called Coggle.it, and I just put the word referrals in the middle, and then I put names off of it. Yeah, COGGLE.it.
Okay. And
it's free. And you just put the word like contacts in the middle or referrals in the middle, and then you start pulling names off. And you put how you met them. So was it Chamber? Was it BNI? Was it another networking group? And then who referred you comes off of that. And then the client goes on the end. And so you start to create this spider web of referrals and contacts. And then you can start to see visually who they all point back to.
How do people connect?
Not only that, who's your top referrer?
Who's your top referral?
Because all the source of that referral, you might have had step 1 and step 2. Step 2 might have sent you 4 referrals, but step 1 sent you the 1 referral that got you to step 2. So there's a connection there. You can visually see it. A lot of people will do like spreadsheets and data stuff. That's not me. I want to see it visually. Yeah. I can't read the spreadsheets like that. But if I showed you my connection mind map, you'd be like, whoa. Because if I go to a conference and I meet 5 people there, I put the conference on the mind map and then I put the 5 people I met on there. And then I wait to see how all that trickled down, because only 10% of the people that you meet are going to start really connecting with you and connecting you with others, Yeah,
and I know even like for us as a company, I look back 5 years ago and we were focusing on leads. We were more like a tech people. Okay, let's get leads. Let's get Facebook leads. And one day I did what you said is I look back and realized, oh my gosh, I'm not focusing on my agents. And that's where my business comes the most. What am I doing? I'm giving that money to all these vendors and people. And where I should invest in the people that I care the most and I love and just focus on these people. And I needed that pain to switch everything that I do with the company. I needed to see it, to realize, why am I doing what I'm doing? It should be about the people.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt, thank you very much for being here today.
Such a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Great talking to you. If you want to learn more about Matt and some of his book, he's author of Making Your Website Effective, which we should do another broadcast on that. So I'll probably take some tips. And as well as his newest book, More Word of Mouth Referrals. We did put the website on the Facebook Live video, and cool. We also put your Facebook page.
Nice. Great.
So we're good to go. Matt, thank you very much for everything.
Appreciate you having me. Go out and get referrals, folks.
Bye.